welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while since I posted a video, but welcome back and on to the next step of how to become an international medical laboratory technologist. Today we are going to talk about the Perm, the labor certification process. But before then, I will be able to outline the different types of visas that you can use to become an international meditech in the USA. So there are two types of visa that you can use to work in the USA, and one of the visa is the H1B and the other visa is the EB3. So I'll just outline the difference between the H1B and the EB3 so that we can get to the point on where your Perm or your labor certification comes in. So to start with H1B. H1B is a temporary non-immigrant visa that you can use to travel and work in the USA. And with the H1B, it's time limited, like you'll get the visa for 3 years. For the H1B, visa is valid for 3 years, but you can be able to extend your visa for up to 6 years as maybe you process on how to get your permanent residency so that you can be able to remain and work in the USA. So the H1B, for you to be able to go to the embassy and interview for the H1B visa, you must have participated in a rotary. The H1B is a rotary process. For you to be selected, you have to enter your details. Your employer has to enter your details in the online lottery system, and once you're selected, they can continue on filing the H1B petition for you. The H1B lottery is usually held once per year around the month of March, and they require around 6,500 people to be selected out of the H1B rotary for the bachelor's degree category. Now the H1B is not only limited for meditechs, it's used for other people who are willing to go and work in the USA, especially those who are in the STEM field. And so you can imagine millions and millions of people will apply for the rotary, but you can be selected. I've seen people who have been selected, and if you'll be selected, good for you, because it's a quick visa that can help you go and work in the United States within a short waiting period time. As I said, the H1B usually is a rotary system, but they are those organizations that are exempted from the rotary system. So if, for example, you're a national or a citizen of a country like India, which has a lot of waiting time, especially on the EB3 visa, you can consider looking for an employer who is CAP exempted in the H1B. They'll be able to file for you the H1B without entering your details in the rotary system, and that can be a quick way for you to move over there. So for those hospitals, there are those hospitals that are non-profit making organization. For instance, the schools, hospital, the higher institutes of learning hospitals, the government research organizations. Those are the hospitals that can get you with the H1B without the visa rotary. So maybe if you want to consider a direct hire, that is looking for an employer by yourself without using the agency, you can consider looking for one that is a non-profit making one, so that you can be able to use the H1B without getting engaged into the rotary system. So the other visa that you can be able to use to go and work there is the EB3 visa. EB3 visa is the employment based category 3 visa, which is an immigrant visa that will help you get your permanent residency in the United States. For the EB3, you don't have to participate in any lottery system. However, there are some steps that you need to go through so that you can be able to proceed to the embassy and interview for your EB3 visa. And one of these process is the Perm process, the Perm labor certification process. Just to mention something about the H1B and EB3, both of the visas, you'll be able to travel with your dependents, that's your children and your spouse. Your children will be able to go to school under the two visas. If you go with an H1B visa, your spouse and children will use the H4 visa to join you there. Your spouse can also be able to work from both the EB3 and the H1B, but for them to work under the H1B visa, they must get an employment authorization document from the Department of Labor for them to be able to work in the United States. So for the EB3, one of the steps that you need to undergo through is your Perm or your labor certification. Your Perm stage is where the employer in the United States has to prove to the government there that there is no other person who has met the qualifications that they are looking for in the US, and so they have to hire outside. So they have to advertise the position first in the USA, and if they won't have anyone within the time limit that they have set, then they will go ahead and hire you. And one thing you must meet is the requirements that are needed for you to go and work there. For instance, your ASCP, your English exam, your CGFNS, your bachelor's degree from your home country. And so once you've met all that and there is no person in the USA qualified to occupy that vacant position, the employer can go ahead and file for the labor certificate for you. On this step, there is no much that is needed on your side. You just need to submit the details that they are going to ask you for. It's kind of a repetition of all the details that they have been asking for. Like for your employment history, they are going to repeat it again in this process, and so you just need to fill out the online form that they are going to send to you and send it back to them, and your employer will hire an immigration attorney for you, for them to be able to help you in this stage. So you won't be required to pay anything in this stage rather than the submission of your documents. So one bad thing about the Perm processing right now is the waiting time. You'll wait for approximately 13 to 14 months for you to get your labor certificate. I don't know what has caused so much waiting time, because previously it used to be 6 months, but currently it's like double the time, and that's only if your Perm certificate won't undergo a process known as the audit. Audit is where if the Department of Labor finds something that they need to clarify about your application, they will have to audit your application. Now if they are to audit your application, just know there will be an addition of 6 months on your Perm process. So some cases might be audited, some cases might not be audited, so it's not compulsory that yours will be audited. So if it's happened to undergo just by the normal process, just be ready to wait for at least 13 months to 14 months for your labor certificate to be ready. So one process that makes this whole process longer, especially for meditechs, is this Perm processing stage. You'll notice that the nurses don't have this stage in their process, and so that makes their going there shorter than ours, because already the US government has realized that there is a shortage for nurses, and so they have exempted them from participating in the labor certification. But for meditechs, for now, we must undergo through the Perm certification process, and we don't have a choice, especially if you're on your EB3 route. You just have to be patient. It will be approved someday. Just be patient, do your part, fill in your details correctly for you to avoid anything that might prompt your case to being audited, so that you can make it quicker for you and you can get your Perm in time without a lot of delays. So after your Perm processing is where you will then undergo a stage known as the I-140, and after the I-140, your case will be forwarded to the National Visa Center. After the National Visa Center, they request you to send some documents. They call them civil documents, and once you submit your documents, once they go through them, they can be able to clear you or give you an embassy interview date that you can use to book an appointment at the US consulate in your country of birth. So that's all about the Perm process. There is not much to say about it because much of it is done by your immigration attorney. All you need to do with the Perm process is wait for it to be approved. It takes time, but it shall be approved someday. So thank you to everyone who have watched my previous videos, to everyone who have liked, commented. I appreciate your feedback and the questions that you keep asking. In case anyone have any question, you can go ahead and put it in the comment section, or if anyone has something to add on to what I say, you can feel free and put it in the comment section. I know we are all here trying to better our career, and so it's a good thing if we all unite and help each other out in whichever way possible. So thank you, and kindly keep on subscribing to my channel.